Episode 20. How on earth we've done this? 20 weeks. It sounds like you could spend 20 weeks in prison, couldn't you? But this hasn't quite been. Hasn't quite been prison. I guess in some ways it has. Benoit Assou-Ekotto's here, great Tottenham left back.
Is he better than Benoit Koe though?
Nah, that Benoit Koe is better than him.
Thank you.
The midfielder.
That's why I'm Assou-Ekotto.
But there we go. Indeed, you are. And as the time's slowly running out of stuff we have to talk to, we're still here though, producing podcasts. The hard-working team that we are. I mean, literally, it's incredible. We were just saying, weren't we? Like, how on earth we're still actually doing it when there's just been nothing new happening in Readers? Just shows that at least it's a diverse sport. There is stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it'd be nice when we start playing again. We've actually got like potentially stuff to talk about. Mind you, I don't think the competitive scene will come back for a while. So
no, I know. Me and Dad's going to train quite hard. To be fair, I mean, and just me and you, I'll come down. But no.
Yeah, of course, you're all done with uni now, aren't you? So that's it. That's the old team's on the scrap heap.
Mate, I get my results tomorrow.
Do you?
Yeah, genuinely.
Oh, wow. What are you hoping for?
2-1.
Surely you're hoping for a first, aren't you?
No way, mate. Played too much real tennis not to get a first.
What about all these hours in the library you used to tell me about?
Yeah, that was mainly just staring at people.
I actually believe every word of that.
Yeah, mate, it was an unbelievable social hub. I used to buy about 3 coffees a day and just stare at people.
Just people watch.
Yeah, and like so obviously, I don't know if you've been on Snapchat much. There's a function called the Snap Map where some people are visible, so you can see where they are. So it would always be quite exciting when like, oh, he's in the library. Let's go and say hello. What floor you on, mate?
Please tell me that doesn't exist.
Mate, it 100% does. It works for girls as well, you know. So like,
hang on. There's a function. I don't have Snapchat, but there's a function that you can find out where people are. It's basically a radar.
So not everyone. So it's only if you've got location services on and if you've been active on the app within like 7 hours. So basically, like you can see when.
I love the fact that you know all of them.
Yeah, you can see when they were last active on the app. So if it's like active on Snapchat 2 minutes ago and they're in the library, I mean it's highly probable they're in the library. So that's it's just good for stalking in general. It's a good uni thing. It's a good uni thing.
And that is why you won't be getting a first.
That is basically why, because every 15 minutes, could be a check of Snap Maps, lads, and then you see who's out and about.
Well,
you think I'm joking as well?
No, I don't.
I'm not.
I absolutely don't. No, I don't think you're joking. Just Puds think it's funny. I mean, people watching is obviously fantastic.
I mean, yeah, you'd think I'd be deluded if I walked out straight out of Leamington, went straight on the Snap Map, right, he was on campus today. That would sort of motivate me to go into campus. Honestly, it was it was all a process. It was all a process. What's this week got in store? Is the weather's a bit shit here, actually.
Pretty grey here at the moment and a bit colder, but to be honest, without sounding like a massive Scrooge, I don't mind that.
It was well hot last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, like 30 degrees is just not fun. So.
That's why I just didn't have my top on all week. It was just too hot.
Yeah, clearly.
And I've got to hold back on that Instagram, you know. Can't be too controversial. But I've got some good photos. But no, let's hope mid-July. I mean, I've seen a video of my local gym, how that's going to reopen. It looks pretty normal, to be honest. Like they've basically just spaced everything out. That's going to open mid-July. Let's hope Readers can as well.
Well, you say it's going to open mid-July. How do they know that?
Well, fuck, I don't know. They're just prepared, aren't they? Just taking measures. I mean,
yeah, they can't open.
I mean, it's so annoying. I mean, even pubs.
This is my point, right? So, like, for the interest of anybody who's actually listening, we are actually just going to talk about like.
Yeah, we are.
COVID-19.
We're still in the banter bit though. We're still in the banter bit of the podcast.
Yeah. I can't understand, and obviously, you know, like any criticisms that we hand out and things like this should always be taken with a pinch of salt and stuff. But like, Manchester have sent emails out to their members saying, "Oh, we're opening on this day," and I'm like, "Are you?
Are you?
How have you plucked that random number out of the air?" And then obviously, like, the announcement gets pushed back or whatever, and then they have to send out another one. And they're like, "Oh, we're opening on this day now." And I'm like, "Oh, so you've made up another day completely with no, you know." Like,
I quite like it though. Forced issue.
What was it? But what's the point?
Oh mate, absolutely no point.
What,
But
like,
at least it's not.
what's it doing? What's it good for?
At least it's
Because
not. At
like
least
two
it's.
people will go, oh great, it's good for my morale. And you're like, okay, that's great. When we send you an email going, yeah, by the way, we just fucked up the first one.
And the second.
Made up a date, and now we're putting it back.
And
How's your morale? How's your morale now?
And the second and the third.
Exactly.
At least,
So we've got a couple of members who are members of Manchester, and they forwarded like an email to like me and the chairman and stuff. And this guy's a prick anyway.
Benno.
don't even care. And he was like, this is what Manchester are doing. Like, look, Manchester are like geared to open. Like, what? We haven't sent anything out to our members.
What are we doing? Yeah.
I just didn't even reply. I was just like, it's because Manchester, without having a personal pop at Manchester, I'm just like, Manchester just made it up.
Yeah, fiction.
They've just literally made it up, and they're hoping.
Better fiction writers than J.K. Rowling. But yeah, no, it's a bit annoying. Like, I just don't understand it. I just want to play. I like cricket. Cricket's been banned as well.
Yeah, for the whole summer, right? The whole season.
Well, I mean, no, on Saturday, obviously, because bars are opening, we're doing like a practice day, which is going to be like an inter-club game between first and seconds. So, I mean, obviously, we can do our own stuff, but just no like authorised matches can take place.
Yeah, so I thought that apparently they reckon the ball is a big carrier, right?
Bollocks, mate. It's absolute bollocks. Like, you're touching the ground and stuff.
Well, I mean, you don't know if it's bollocks, but
yeah, no. I'm just saying.
That's what they've come up with. But
yeah,
I guess that's why the TNRA have come up with that.
Yeah, I know.
Ridiculous, like, recommendation of like putting sets of 10 balls out on court and rotating them every hour or something.
Listen here, that won't be happening if I'm playing real tennis. That will not be happening. I won't be doing that.
I completely understand like where they've come up with that, but I mean,
going to a pub is more dangerous now than playing real tennis. That is that is a fact. Do you know what I mean?
It's absolutely incredible that like, so the argument for real tennis was that because it's got a roof, there's no like ventilation for any potential virus to escape. Right? Fine, I understand that. But if that's what you're, if that's the logic behind it, that's fine. So then when shops were, like non-essential shops were allowed to open, I was like, okay, well they've got roofs. That seems a bit kind of weird. And now you're in a situation where you can be in a pub with somebody that you don't know and you've never met.
Oh, but if you write your name on the front, they can trace you. That makes it okay.
And you're also allowed to be stood right next to them as long as you're back to back.
Mate, I've heard that they're not going to allow live music so people don't have to shout to each other because apparently that could cause droplets. I was just like, oh, right, well, okay.
Well, it is a measure, but it does seem bizarre to me that you're going to have a pub with, I don't know, 50 people in it.
No, so it's 30 maximum apparently. Apparently it's 30 maximum.
That depends on size, surely.
I think it's 30. It's just like as the figure.
Well, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so
as you know, there's like Wetherspoons right opposite the club front door. If you get 30 people in there, they're very spread out. That's fine, right? That's not causing any trouble whatsoever. If you go into like one of the tiny little bars, like up the street, and their maximum capacity is 35 anyway, they're just going to be like, well, I'm not breaking any rules, having 30 in, but it's going to be absolutely Sergio'd.
Sergio Ramos, for anyone who doesn't know football, that means rammed. But yeah, it will be.
So it just seems like so bizarre. Anyway, yeah, I think generally speaking, everybody was kind of geared up for this 4th of July announcement. There was a lot of kind of mutterings that indoor sports we were finally going to get the nod. So I actually went and had a meeting with my chairman and vice chairman, socially distant.
Yeah.
Vice chairman put on a lovely little breakfast spread, and we sat down and basically went through all of the like procedures and precautions that we're going to put in place, because obviously every club's different. The guidelines are all the same, but the layout and everything, how people get to the court and all that kind of stuff is different. So we came up with our little strategy, sat down and went into like some depth with it and stuff, and basically, left that meeting with action points to get things ready, like geared towards that 4th of July announcement, and then we just got absolutely slapped in the face with a wet fish.
Pied.
Yeah.
Mate, I'll be as soon as we're fucking allowed to play, I'll be straight down to Everton. I've got nothing else to do.
It's just a bit of a shame. It's just a shame, isn't it? It's a shame. People are, I think, and rightly so, people are just starting to get pretty angry with how you're allowed to do it seems there's obviously logic behind what they're doing, but it can seem to the uneducated person that they just like the way they're coming back is a little bit random. Like for example, and obviously people are just like they're getting frustrated because they're emotionally attached to certain things and they're not.
Yeah, that's classic. That's classic me. That's classic me.
But like, it does seem really, really bizarre that you can have 30 people that don't know each other in an enclosed space, and you're allowed to sit back to back with people now and not have to worry about the 2 meter rule.
Yeah.
You can't go and stand on the fucking boundary and play a one day game of cricket.
Well, mate, like you can go,
out in the open in the middle of like stood on the boundary and then batting with no one anywhere near you either.
You can go for a meal with your cricket team, but you can't play.
Right, so
that's the weird thing. Like people are just gonna start playing golf. I'm telling you, golf. We're gonna have like the next major winners are all gonna be English because of lockdown.
I've played quite a lot of golf during lockdown. I've loved it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So nice to actually have the time to be able to just get out there and do it.
Yeah, literally, it's so normal, isn't it?
I had a lesson on Saturday.
A lesson?
First ever golf lesson. Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I could actually be as good as you without actually having had a lesson because I'm shite. But yeah, that's fair enough. I hope you learned something.
I did. It was very helpful.
And I hope you weren't one of your horrendous pupils who doesn't listen.
Well, obviously, spending a reasonable amount of time coaching myself, I was the model student.
Perfect, Ben. I'm glad to hear that. Right, well, let's kick this off. Let's try and actually make this rather than a sort of nuanced, light-hearted banter conversation at the start of the podcast. Let's sort of focus in on this this COVID stuff. What will the new normal look like for reelers in the next few weeks?
It's painful, isn't it?
Well, mate, I mean, you talk about these rules in place. I feel like, you know, when you talk about elite sportsmen and stuff like that. Look, if I'm playing with Daz, it's not going to be like only touch 10 balls. Like I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I've had a COVID test. I'll openly admit I've been hugging people all week in Birmingham. I had a COVID test. It was negative. I think if you're going to play real tennis, it's the same as going to a restaurant. You're putting yourself in that risk, and I'm willing to take that risk.
Well, that is what's quite funny. Is like I was playing golf with 3 of my members actually on Friday. We were talking about it and stuff, and like that word risk is always thrown around, and that's the thing. Like people, if someone comes to the club and for whatever reason they manage to get it right, and they may or may not have got it from the club, they turn around and like try and sue the club or whatever. It's just like, hang on a minute. Anywhere you choose to go is a risk, right?
Yeah.
You're not walking into like an industrially like clean surgical like operating room where everything's it's like top to bottom like mixed. Do you know what I mean? You're walking into a tennis club. We put measures in place. There's always a risk. There's a risk to you walking into the supermarket. So
of course, there's a risk. Yeah, exactly. Everyone does that.
So I really hope that people don't start to like just become idiots about it and like try and start blaming people. And at the end of the day, there are going to be like loads of precautions in place. Like, I mean, for example, at Leamington, what we're going to be doing is like pushing the court bookings to longer. So there's like a 15-minute cleaning period in every booking, and like members aren't allowed to just walk in and out. They have to basically ring the doorbell. We're going to have all of the doors between the front door and the court like propped open, so they don't touch anything. And I basically open the front door and like they walk all the way through, no changing rooms, none of that stuff. So if people are like, oh, you know, have you done this? Have you done that? Or start moaning, and be like, do you know what? Just don't come in then.
Yeah, just don't come in. Like people basically in Selly Oak, this is quite a weird piece of context for the listeners because obviously I was at uni this week and people talk about young people breaking the rules and like quite frankly you can't be deluded in thinking that people are going to social distance when there's 500 people who are coming back to a student town. And literally, what was I going to say? Yeah, some people were very, very strict and like you respect that. But at the same time, people are like, oh no, I'm not going to come back because you've been doing this back home, you've not been distancing. It's like, well, if you are actually worried about the risk, just don't come back. It's as simple as that. Like, there's no point, is there?
And that's what's kind of, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how people kind of react and get stuck into it. Really, it's just
I
like,
agree.
well, I'm kind of thinking, in terms of, I mean, obviously, let's get through the boring stuff.
Yeah.
Like the doors being propped open, and the pros having to clean the ledges and
That's
stuff.
that's easy enough though. That's easy enough.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's dull, and
Especially if you do it together as well. It's quick.
Well, that's another thing. In theory, you want to try, and you don't want to just kind of like rip off the plaster and go back to normal. So in theory, what clubs could do to like increase or decrease the likelihood of stuff coming in is for like the pros not to work at the same time.
Yeah, I think Manchester are doing that actually.
Which so like I could do the morning and Chris could do the evening or something like that.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that'd be a great idea. And then you alternate every day.
It's going to be pretty miserable from a working standpoint because you're going to be there on your own. And in terms of like the clubs reopening, obviously you can't get stuck into organising tournaments and things like that because you don't know when you're going to be able to have like multiple people in and stuff like that. So you can't really organise tournaments, and it's the summer. So basically, I reckon the pros. I think it's going to be a pretty boring place to be to start with because all you're really going to do is come in the morning, clean the court and all the surfaces and all that stuff, and then basically just let people in once an hour, and clean the court once an hour. And there's not really going to be that much to do in terms of admin.
Listen here, I think actually there might not be as much demand because of the time of year it is. I mean, it's always quieter in the summer, right?
Yeah, it is. I wonder if people.
It's a good time to actually have the test sort of regulations in when it is quieter.
Well, I wonder if people will kind of play through the summer because they've been starved of it for where are we now, like 4 months.
Maybe like the proper keen players will. Like obviously I would. Like my dad would. My dad's really keen. Like, but let's say the people who are like half and half in the summer, they might just think, oh, it's all right. I'll start again in September. That's no big deal to me. And I think that's fair enough as well. In which case, it's a good time to get the weird club vibe because it won't be a club vibe, will it? Like putting people in the bar having a beer. Mind you, actually, tell you what, Benno. An idea for you. Obviously, Leamington's outdoor garden bit. Why doesn't Tom just like have a fridge and people can have beers there?
Don't know.
Anyway,
well, bars and stuff are allowed to open, aren't they? So I think the committee had like a chat last week and basically talked about opening the bar and like in terms of guidelines, what would we have to do, and then the big thing really is like if we reopen the bar. Is it going to make enough money to pay for it to be open? Do you know what I mean? Because at the moment it's just sat there, obviously. As soon as you turn it back on, you're like, for example, you've got to buy a barrel of beer, right? Are you going to get that? Is that going to get drunk?
Well, are we
going to get the foot traffic? Do you know what I mean?
Cans will and bottles will. Back to the good old days.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
But yeah,
I think the idea would be that if like the club decided they were going to do that, they would just open the bar.
Yeah, true.
I think they'd just be like, right, if we're going to serve alcohol or serve drinks, we're just going to open the bar again.
I mean, yeah, I think a lot of cricket clubs are actually going to generate a bit of revenue because they're going to have like outdoor bars. Because obviously, a cricket club is just like a fuck off field, so you can just loads of people can come in. It's not like a pub with a beer garden where it's limited. Like a cricket club's literally a field, so they might actually be able to generate some income that way. If it's sunny, it's weather dependent, obviously. But yeah, I'd also like to stress to the podcast before anyone like criticises about social distancing. I am being completely genuine here, just trying to put a point across. I also have had a test, so be vigilant. But this is just our own views. Please, this is not representative of the whole real tennis community. Disclaimer, terms and conditions. Yep, no worries. We'll slip that one in there. But yeah, what do you think about like on-court stuff, like playing? Like, are you going to enforce it, like saying, "Come on, don't touch the walls, don't cough, don't spit"?
I don't think. So this was kind of what we spoke about in my meeting last week. I was like, look, you can't expect people to not touch a wall. That's not happening.
Yeah, and Rory Gunn just bounces off them.
Exactly. It's not real as court for Ross, it's a bouncy castle.
Yeah. Indeed.
But you can't expect... Right, so we've got a member who, like, basically sweats a lot, and they slap their hand...
I know exactly what that is. You see it after he plays.
And then drag it down the wall, right?
Respect that. It's good.
Yeah, and I
Mighty
basically
territory.
said to, I was like, look, we'll have to kind of say to that person, could you try and remember not to do that? It's the same thing with the footballers, though. They've been like asked not to spit, right?
Yeah.
You can't book someone for spitting. It's
No.
just like a natural reaction.
What happens if you've got like grass in your
disgusting.
throat or something?
Sorry?
What happens if you've got like grass in your throat? You got to.
Exactly. So, and you also can't turn around and expect a member, like, provide them with some chalk, and every time they touch the wall, can they just draw a circle around where they've touched? Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. So think of it this way, right? If the court is dirty, let's say the court is riddled with COVID, right? The surfaces.
Yeah.
You're going to walk on court at the beginning of the match.
You're fucked anyway, aren't you?
Well, no, you're gonna like, as in terms of like physical touching with your hands.
Yeah.
You're going to sanitize your hands, so you're going to clean your hands.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be exposed to dirt, and then you're going to clean before you go away again.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's irrelevant. Somebody was saying who works like in retail. Somebody came in and they were like, "Oh, excuse me, you haven't sanitized your hands on the way in," and the customer apparently was like, "Well, why do I want to touch that? Like the pump is going to be the dirtiest thing of, like, going to be the most touched thing in the whole shop," and they were like, "Yeah, but you touch the dirty pump to get the sanitizer on your hands, and then you wash that dirt off within like 1 second of touching it."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what stupid thing to say.
Mate, have you been to a shop yet, like a clothes shop?
Yes, one.
What did you think? I thought it was pretty normal.
It was normal. So you just got a queue to get in.
Yeah, I went to TK Maxx and it was just like, well, obviously in a
shop.
shop.
That must have been agony.
No, it was sound actually. I mean, I went pretty early, but like, I mean, the thing is, in a clothes shop, you're not actually like touching people. Like, you naturally stay away from people. Like, if I'm in an aisle, I'm not gonna like fucking bump someone, am I? You just don't know people, so you naturally stay distant. It's normal.
Yeah, you've got absolutely no reason to kind of be really close. I mean, I understand the predicament they're in. If people are kind of touching the same garment like again and again and again, then I think they have to kind of get rid of that and take it out.
What about touching the same balls? A natural vector of disease. Oh no.
Well, supposedly we don't know, do we?
I only choose the lucky balls. When I'm hitting a railroad, I choose the biggest one possible, just so it doesn't go on the back penthouse.
In terms of playing, I think people just have to play normally. It's obviously going to be singles. It's not going to be any doubles.
When you say normally, there'll be no targets for either of us. That won't change.
Yeah, exactly. It'll just be like rallying it out for hours and hours.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's just going to be a very like restricted, not restricted. It's going to feel a bit different because people are going to walk in like, I'm not going to just go in and watch them for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah,
there's no point having an extra body in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're just going to go in, and then after an hour or after 55 minutes, I'm going to poke my head around the door and be like, "Guys, you need to be gone in." Like, basically, this is your 5-minute warning.
If someone
then they leave, and as they walk past, we see you later. And that's it.
If a club member did like press the bell and said, "Oh, can I just like pop my head in?" Would you literally say no?
Say that again. You broke up there.
Sorry, mate. So if a club member, let's say, knew the two people playing, like, at Leamington, people just pop their head in, like Frenchie obviously comes in after work or whatever. If he just said, "Oh yeah, can I come and say hello to Dicko," like on court, and he just stood in the dead on, obviously miles away from the players, miles away from you, can he do that?
No, I wouldn't let them in the door.
Interesting. Fair.
If a member just turned up.
Yeah. If you rang ahead, if you booked his slot.
Well, if they're playing tennis, then fine. But basically, I think that, and that's where common sense has to kick in. You hope people are not stupid about it.
Yeah.
You can't just these clubs are not going to be like they normally are. So let's say like a club. So somewhere like in Manchester is exactly the same. People go to the club for other reasons than to just go and play a game of tennis. Right? It's not a facility. It is a club. People go in for a beer. They're going to watch TV or whatever.
Yeah, guilty. Yeah.
Those people can't go in.
Yeah,
it's not a drop-in centre. If someone walks in the door and they're not meant to be there, I will literally turn around and be like, "You need to go."
I was playing devil's advocate there. I know. I completely appreciate that.
Of course. And you know what? I'm sure some of the members here would just be like, "Oh, shut up," and walk past me anyway.
You
And
just
then
have
I'm
to
just like, well,
you just have to manhandle them out. You'd have to
well,
risk your own
you know,
safety.
and then at that point you're just like, well, that's not really helping anyone there, are you?
Yeah, that's a good shout. To be fair.
Well, and the thing is, I think members need to be like, it needs to be like very much like stressed to them. So if you've got people that just kind of go, I can't be bothered to like obey these rules, right? Well, you have rules when you join a club anyway.
Mm.
So, yeah, I don't know what, Leamington, for example, is like, right, you shouldn't use your mobile phone in the bar, for example. That's a club rule, okay?
Yeah, for sure. That gets followed.
So if people like adhere to that, all you're doing is saying this is another rule, but it's just temporary. You just got to adhere to it. And
yeah, it's only temporary, right? That's good.
Exactly, and people need to like have it stressed to them. If you don't follow the rules, then the club will have to close immediately. So you're ruining it for all the other members, all the members of staff that now can't earn money anymore. No one can come in and play tennis. We're having to close because you're being a dick.
It's like that. It's like school, isn't it? When there's that one naughty kid who keeps everyone behind at break because the teacher keeps them in.
Ruining it for everyone else.
You'll ruin it for everyone. You'll miss your break time.
But that's what will happen, I think. That's what will have to happen. People just have to have it stressed to them.
Look, I mean, I don't think everyone's adults. Everyone's a reasonable person. It'll be fine. I think you're right, but it will be different.
What do you think is going to happen? Moving on to like much more interesting topics. What do you think is going to happen, like tournament scene wise?
I think that the domestic stuff could happen. I think travelling will be a bit dodge. I think definitely there could be scope for like new tournaments, innovative ones. Maybe postpone the British Open and just have like like they've done with Andy Murray, like Battle of the Brits.
I saw some of that.
Why couldn't we just have a 10-man thing at like Hollyport and just get some matches going, or just people like me, you, and Daz have a 3-way like pre-season tournament, maybe stream it or something. Fuck knows, I don't know. It just could be cool.
Well, I think what would happen with stuff like that is it would be the same thing, but then you just have to do it. You'd have to basically just book the court and have the two of you there.
I think there'd be massive like scope. Let's say if we got like 5 or 6 people like and just did some reelers, got some matches playing. I don't think any proper official tournaments are going to happen. So I feel like unfortunately, Ben, on your tax bill there'll be very little tournament income for the next few months.
I agree.
That'll make my dad's job a bit easier. But still, like I think there'll be a lot of that. I think there'll be a lot of like sort of unofficial matches. Which again could be documented and people could watch them somehow. And also they could happen at any court because obviously there's unlimited travel, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean it depends what people want to get out of their matches, really, doesn't it? Like
exactly.
If you're like, for you just want the match practice.
I just like it. Yeah.
I could turn around as a pro and be like, well, why do I want to drive all the way up to Manchester and play Darren if I'm not getting paid for it?
We could have some beers outside.
Yeah, but as in, people could be like,
yeah, I know.
Well, I'm not going to like compete if I'm not getting paid for it and stuff like that.
I agree. True. That is, I've not really thought that through, but I think there could be some Battle of the Brits stuff, and again, apparently all the prize money from that went to the NHS. So but they're quite rich, so ignore me.
What happened in the? Because I saw like Andy Murray had like put on an Instagram story or something that he was playing today, and he wasn't expecting much because his hip's been pretty sore or something.
His shin, it's his shin.
But then I didn't see any results or anything. I don't think it was very well publicised, was it? What happened?
So basically he lost to Evans, and then Evans beat Ward 3-2 in the final, but Murray was acting as Ward's coach on the bench. It was quite controversial because apparently like Murray could be heard like on the Amazon stream like swearing at Ward, being like, I've got to fucking concentrate and stuff. But yeah, it sounded quite funny.
Hang on a minute. Let me have a... So did Kyle Edmund play?
Yeah, I think he fit. Oh, sorry, no, hang on. Flipping heck. Yeah, he did. Maybe it was Edmund. It was Edmund against. Evans beat Edmund in the final, and it was supposed to be Murray against Norrie in the 3rd, 4th, but Murray jibbed it because he was injured, and I think Ward was playing doubles.
Murray jibbed it.
He did.
James Ward. I mean, I get James Ward is somebody I use as an example all the time with like British sporting organisations wasting their money.
Yeah, exactly.
So James Ward is 33 years old. has never. Okay, his current ranking is 273, right?
Similar to me. Yeah.
And gets a wild card into Wimbledon every year. What's the fucking point?
Yeah, I know it's
Just
dodge.
because he's British, give it to some 17-year-old up-and-coming player who, like, give him a shot. You know what I mean? Don't give it to this clown who quite clearly is crap.
These things happen. Right, what were we going to say? Yeah, that's. But anyway, in conclusion,
Anyway,
with
you
with.
reckon, so okay, let's take the British Open.
Well, you can't have doubles, can you?
No, that's true.
So what's the point in having the British Open?
Well, because I think people would quite like to play the singles still.
Same here. I'd like to play. And also the British Pro.
What do you think? So let's take the British Open as a benchmark, right?
Right. Yeah.
What do you think? Can it happen?
To the same strength? No.
Why is that?
Because of the borders. Like, can chappers get back into Australia and shit? Probably
So
not with great ease.
I think the difficulty with it is obviously because of the mandatory quarantine in England for 2 weeks. If you're asking someone like John Lumley to fly over, or chappers, basically they're going to have to turn around to their clubs and say, I need 2 weeks more than the 10 days I'm going to take.
Yeah.
Because I've got to fly to England and then quarantine for 2 weeks before I'm allowed to play. Then obviously they're there for a bit, and their home, the nation they're going back to may have a quarantine policy as well.
I feel like they are going to sack off that that 2 week thing soonish, I think.
But could you tell? There's obviously loads of politics in it and stuff like that. Because if let's say that I'm not going to use association stuff. Let's say we deem the British Open to be an unfair playing field, if you like, in terms of getting here. So let's say, with the restrictions and stuff, you're basically asking chappers, Lumley, people like that, to perform miracles to come over. So it's not fair, right?
Yeah.
I don't see why you still can't put the event on. You just turn around and say something like, right, there's no ranking points available because it's technically not an open event anymore.
Yeah. It's just got to be for cash, right?
Yeah, and you can still have a British Open. You can still have people come in to watch. I don't know how you do that.
Well, streaming. The streaming's Jess, isn't it?
Streaming it, or you just turn around
and say...
Or you just turn around and say, right, are we going to push it back? And are we going to have our...
I'd start the flipping race.
Are we going to have our British Open in March or something instead?
Listen here, I'd start the race again.
What right now?
Yeah, I'd just be like...
sack it off right now?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, what if... Okay, so how many events do you think... It's interesting, because, I'm on the RTP committee and we've been chatting about the race. How many events do you think need to take place before the race gives a fair indication of the top four?
Mate, all of them. All of them. Okay. I want all in 2 years because everything changes so much. There's always stuff to play for. I'm sorry, you can't just have a half series. Yeah, we'll have the World Championship. Fuck it. I want 2 years.
I get that. So let's say, all right. So then let's say in 10 years' time. So there are 14 events, right, for a world race. Let's say that in 10 years' time something happens and one of those events can't happen and only 13 can happen. What you're saying is the whole thing should start again because one event can't happen because you want them all, right?
Wait, so only one event needs to happen?
No. So I'm saying if you've got 14, you said they all need to count, right? Which means you're saying 14 events need to take place.
Yeah, they do, in my opinion.
So let's say in 10 years' time, something happens and one event can't take place in those 2 years. So you still get 13 out of the 14.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that you think the whole thing should be null and void, whereas I would say 13 out of 14 events, as long as as long as no one can play in it, 13 out of 14 events is still a fair system. So what I'm saying is, I think there should be a certain.
Well, right, okay. So you go points per game, you go average points for that final event, like the Premier League.
Why? If no one can play in it, then it just doesn't happen.
No one could play in League 2 and they do points per game.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Interesting. 13 out of 14, I feel like where they were at with the football, I think points per game worked reasonably well in that case. 13 out of 14, you could just do average points, work it out.
So, at the same, like, you know, the same token, if one event out of 14 takes place, quite clearly that's not enough events.
No, it's not.
To get a fair reflection. So what I'm saying is, I think they do it in other sports as well. I think that you should have a minimum number, and I don't know what that number is, where you turn around and go, right, once this number of events has happened, the race is active and it's live and it counts.
And it's live, but yeah.
Because as long as everybody knows that at the start, so I think, so just to kind of, you know, like to and fro with what you were saying about the race should not stand, my argument would be, at this point, we've lost the US Pro and the French Open and the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, Champo, yeah.
That's it so far. If, and I don't think it will, if the IRTPA happens, the British Open happens, and next year happens fully, you've got 11 of those 14 events taking place. I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen, is it?
Well, probably not. But, okay.
You don't know that.
Let's say we lose this year then, and next year takes place, you get 7 out of 14. Is that acceptable? I don't know. So
we'll see.
So what I'm saying is, I think there is a number, I don't know what number that is, where you turn around and go, yeah, that's fine.
Ben Ronaldson would know.
But what you're saying is it's all or nothing.
I don't know. I'm a bit of a purist. I like it. I like the race. I like all 14 because people don't play them all, and it's like an average.
Exactly. So my first, conversation point when we were talking about it was nobody obviously knew this was going to happen. So everybody was in the same level of knowledge when they were picking their events. But at the same time, if somebody had said, by the way, there won't be a US Pro, a French, or a Champions Trophy, I would of course played in the Aussie Open.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So, yes, it's a bit unfair. And Australia is obviously always the first one of the race. And I would say it's the one that is travelled to, by the masses, the least.
Yeah.
It's no surprise to see a few of the top 10 not play the Australian Open, right?
Yeah.
So you give other people an opportunity to get a bit of a bump and a bit of a head start, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's obviously fair that, you know, the race should finish like now after those two events. Imagine if you played the Aussie Open,
yeah,
and like no one turned up to it, and you had like, I don't know, Dan Williams, just because the first name that came to my head, sneaks in as the number 4 guy in the World Championship. Like, you know, that's obviously a bit kind of
spooky,
silly. So a certain number of events need to take place, but I don't think. All right, so let's go down. Let's go with your idea.
Benno, be careful. Be careful time wise here. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We need to wrap this up.
What's your idea then? If you need to play all the events and you can this, what does that look like for the World Championships?
Well, I just think can these 4 and then we'll start again. I think this is an isolated case. I don't want to set a precedent for the future because I don't think it's going to happen again.
So what do you mean? So what do you mean can these 4? As in just restart the race, but then what if it doesn't happen, if we can't start competing until like February?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you would have a race with only 5 events anyway? We'd all just start from 0 in February.
Yeah, you start the tournament, the season starts maybe then. Oh, mate, I'm making this up. I just think, like, if you carry over those points, people's, like, form changes and stuff, people's situation changes.
So here's the thing, right? There are enough events between now and the end of next year, as it currently stands, for someone who hasn't even played in a tournament yet to finish first in the race.
Yeah, literally, that's what I'm saying. It's just, we'll have to see.
So it doesn't matter that 2 events have taken place at this point.
Yeah.
If they turn out to be the only 2 events that can take place, that is obviously not fair. So you would start the race again from when we can start competing again, let's say. You only get 3 in. So you'd still try and get the World Championships done in the same years and stuff then.
No,
You're not campaigning to postpone a World Championship, are you?
No, I think we should just do when the next cycle can start fully, like when the French Open can start. I'd just start it then, 2021 maybe.
Well, it doesn't. It wouldn't start again. The next race would be due to start on the 1st of January 2022. So what does next year count for?
Mate, I don't know.
How do you select the 4 qualifiers for the 2022 World Championships if no one's played in a race?
Well, the thing is, when's the World Championship going to happen? That's the big question. That might not happen until 2021, mid 2021.
But then you could still host it again in 2022.
I know, 2 in a year. We'll see.
No, one in 2021, one in 2022. It's just again, you don't want to. You can't afford to start putting the men's world championship in the odd years because the men's world doubles championship takes place in those years, and the ladies world champion singles and doubles takes place in the odd years. So you can't clash all of that through and have it all in one year and then a gap year the next year.
Yeah, I do tend to make inflammatory statements and not really think about them. But anyway,
well, I would say it's inflammatory. But
yeah,
I think if the World Championship happens in October as it's scheduled to, then great. If it happens to be next year, then I still think 2022 should happen because you just turn around and go, it's obviously an extreme circumstance, and whoever wins it in 2021 gets to only hold it for a year before they defend it rather than 2. Well, everyone's in the same boat. Well, Rob and Cam are both in the same boat there. They both know that whoever wins has got to defend again in 2022.
Yeah, too right. Anyway.
So what we're saying, really, is we've got no idea what it's going to look like, but it's going to be crap to start with.
Yeah, we are.
The water is still very murky.
Mate, we're on 41 minutes there. That's a long conversation. We thought it was to be boring. I've actually really enjoyed it. This is like, I imagine we're driving to Seacourt just chatting away. We've got TalkSport in the background. Or some chasing status on your phone. Yeah, that's perfect. That's sat in a Seat with great air conditioning. But I'm not. I'm sat at home still. It's raining. I enjoyed that chat, man.
All right. Well, what we're saying is that it's going to be very restricted, and in terms of top tennis, don't expect to see it anytime soon.
Yeah.
God, we all want that to happen.
Yeah, exactly. But it's going to be a bit dodge. But an interesting points, I feel, and feel free to shoot me down for being a badly behaved student. I don't mind. But yeah,
don't mind.
We'll move on to the court section, which might have to be slightly cut a bit shorter, but who knows? Right, I mean, we were at Hardwick last time. Surely Oxford or Radley's closer.
Well, you say that, but we haven't gone. I think we need to go west because when are we going to fit Bristol in if we don't do it now?
Well, I mean, we'll just add it in later. I quite like going through the middle. I like this.
All right, so we've just done. Yeah, so in terms of geography, obviously Radley would be the next one on the list.
Yeah.
When are we going to get Bristol in there?
I don't know, episode 30.
Okay.
Look,
let's hold you to that.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Right. You seem very interested in talking about Radley, so
no, Radley and Oxford. I don't care. I just don't know much about Bristol off the top of my head. I've only been there once.
Well, it's got to be Radley because it's closer to Hardwick than Oxford is.
Okay, right, Radley then. Perfect. I'm not very interested. I've been there a lot. I don't think I'm ever very interested. I just sort of stuff happens and I just react. I'm reactionary.
Right, just keep nibbling.
Fine.
Fine.
I've got a good story for you after the podcast as well. Right. Okay. So about nibbling. Right. So Radley.
When did Radley open?
2008. 2008.
So it's one of the new ones.
Oh yeah.
Chris Ronaldson's still there. It's just been the one pro club at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. Was Nino not still there?
Well, yeah, but Nino hasn't been there from the start.
Oh no, he hasn't. He hasn't.
Is what I mean.
Yeah, no, Chris has. What a sustainable investment that is.
So Radley obviously pulled off a good coup there in terms of getting someone in that's going to make the court busy. So the club, I'm sure, is very busy there. I would imagine, don't you think?
Yeah, Radley's well busy.
I imagine it's very, very busy.
Yeah.
Obviously, because of the college nature, they're they're producing some players as well, which is great.
Mate, they are producing some Jugadores these days. Ned Batson's youngish. He's come from there. He's probably the one who I think is probably one of the better ones to come from Radley in recent years.
Ned was in Melbourne, right?
Yeah, he was.
There's two brothers, isn't there?
Mate, he was FaceTiming his girlfriend while you were playing your Eliminator. How disrespectful is that?
Obviously wasn't worth watching.
Exactly, hose before bros. What's going on there? That's horrendous.
They've got like Charlie Harris-Jones, Charlie Harris are quite good players, aren't they?
Charlie Harris went to St Edwards, but those two don't really play anymore. Ben Boddington was decent.
Ben Boddington was very good.
He was decent. He was off like 10 in his day.
Obviously, Radley has produced
some legends.
Julian Snow,
James Mayle.
Benedict Yorstons, obviously, he's a good player as well, isn't he?
He's younger. Yeah. Not like 20. That is a production line.
So they've got a very good conveyor belt of some players there. Some very, very, very good players.
Zach Edel.
Zach Edel didn't come through the school system, though, did he?
Well, he was a pro, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably became good at Radley. Good conveyor belt these days. Clearly, just get boys on court. Having a boys' school probably helps. Just bodies.
Yeah, I've not. So it's quite a strange colour, isn't it? It's like a teal.
It's light blue, isn't it? It's like Coventry City-ish. No, it's not.
Yeah, but it's got some like green in there as well. It's quite like aqua.
Yeah, aqua. I get that.
And then it's got the red floor and the black stroke area. Do you know what I've only played there a couple of times.
Serious? I've been at loads.
Well, I've had no reason to ever kind of play there really.
Yeah.
I went and had a lesson with Chris Ronaldson there once.
Nice.
I remember. So the two things I remember about Radley like immediately are that the service wall, the wall that you would use to serve, is like wood, right?
Yeah, it's a weird material.
It's not concrete, or it's not as like bouncy, as springy as the rest of the court.
Yeah.
And fun fact about the construction of Radley, dead on. The opposite of Petworth, isn't it?
So the wall's too big on one. It's bigger on one side, isn't it?
It's very, very narrow to kind of promote, I guess, a more classical style of play.
It slides so much in that forehand and backhand corner. Oh my days! It's like it comes out straight if you hit a sidewall. Like some courts come out wide. It slides around there. You feel like
shit.
It
kind of stays in the corners.
Yeah, big time.
Doesn't kick round.
Yeah, it slides. The grill makes a nice sound actually.
Is that just like a wooden board?
I don't know what it is. It sounds quite deep. I like it. I like grill sounds.
Grill sounds are very good.
It's like a thunder. It's like thunder.
How do you know that? Were you watching someone hit grills once?
Man, I think I hit one off the main wall there once. Or like framed one into the grill. Shit. I played an interesting match there against Zach in 2015 British Open qualifying.
Of course they do the British Open qualifying.
Mate, genuinely.
Radley's a major court.
For the British Open, I don't know why it's there, but it's there. And like I'll remember that game forever because I was 5-love down in the first, lost the first set like 6-2, won the next one like 6-1, was 4-1 up in the third, then was 5-4 down. I think I saved 3 match points and I won the game 5-all with 2 main wall dead-ons, which I've never done. And
wow.
Because you talk about that main wall, it's quite receptive, so I feel like they built the dimensions of it so it sort of evens out. If you see what I mean.
Go on, say that again.
So let's say the back, the dead on, it's like wider, or is it narrower? I can't remember.
Well, it's narrow, so it's a smaller. Yeah, it's narrower.
Okay, so yeah.
So the amount of wall between the edge of the dead on and the main wall is wider.
Yeah, that's it.
The dead on is narrower.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, basically, it's quite a good court for hitting main wall dead ons in that respect.
Is it?
No. Sorry. Without that wall, it would be, but you can hit a good main wall there, I think.
Yeah, I think it's easier to defend a main wall because you don't have to cover as much, you don't have to get yourself across the court as much. Because things that you think are going in just hit the back wall instead, because there's more back wall. So you don't have to kind of get as far across to the main wall to cover as you do on any other court in the world. I think it must be the narrowest dead on in the world, surely.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it is.
But, I mean, that's just a fleeting statement, but I would imagine that's right.
Quite a nice floor actually, like sort of like bricks-ish. It's like terracotta, as you say. Like
I think it's very much like, I think the bricks like really kind of narrow, the little
yeah,
slabs.
yeah, they are.
So I think it's basically, I think that's the same as the oratory. I think the oratory is the same as that. Just like very, very small, lots of them. Like lots and lots and lots of them make up the floor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same as the oratory, or the same as the oratory used to be anyway.
Indeed.
So I don't know what they did there, like design from.
It's cool though. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it is like, and obviously the facilities, but the school is like obviously lovely. I've played golf on the school because the school's got a golf course.
It's quite a nice club room actually. They've got like an upstairs bit. It's quite a welcoming feel, I find, at Radley.
Yeah, they've got because it's so unlike the oratory, only from memory from years ago. Like the oratory at the far end, it's got a great room down there, but you would have, there was something like a gym or a sports hall down beyond it. And because of the squash course and the swimming pool on the other side of the court, you'd have the corridor being used as a lot of like foot traffic.
Yeah.
Whereas like at Radley, the court has been positioned in an area where basically once you walk in that front door, you've got the change rooms and the pool up to your left. But generally speaking, you're in your own little corner of the school, aren't you? As in the real tennis bit.
Yeah, exactly. Nice carpet.
You've got like a couple of like couches with a table and the pro shop and the little room upstairs with the wind. There's glass looking down onto the court, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of like its own little area, isn't it? Which is good. So I imagine it can be quite a nice place to be.
Indeed, but like
maybe we'll see a major tournament there.
I hope so.
That'd be nice. I mean, if you think, like we were talking about like the other week, like where's the game going to be in the next 20 years and stuff.
Schools.
There's one thing that's like, if there's one place that's not going to run out of money in a hurry, it's public schools. So
no.
You know, if you've got like private clubs that are kind of like not struggling to survive, but you know they're really reliant on the members like investing. You know, the schools are going to be sat in a nice situation. Maybe they throw a bit of cash in and get some tournaments in.
Indeed, mate. Who knows? During lockdown, it might be the Radley Open, the Radley Invitational.
It'll be interesting to see because they're so close together. It'll be interesting to see if Radley and the Oratory strike up either some kind of like not necessarily partnership, but whether they kind of work closely with each other or not without any animosity, or whether they kind of strike up like a bit of a kind of a rivalry, like a healthy one, you know. It'll be interesting to see if either of those two things happen, or if they just both sit there and do their own thing.
Indeed, well, we will see. Nonetheless, we don't want to talk for too long. I know this had to be slightly cut short because we were just loving COVID life. But I mean, you've been to Radley a few times. Where would you put it in your course? I think I'd play decently there, but like, I don't think I'd put it in my top third. I think lower middle for me.
Yeah, I'm just going to go middle or lower, only because again, like just lack of exposure to it.
Indeed.
I just haven't played. I've had like a couple of hits there with Paul Knox when he worked there. So I mean, how long ago was that?
Indeed.
Just so long. So I've never had to play I don't think I've ever had to play a competitive match there. So I've probably never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not experienced it like, you know, in game mode. So for that reason, I can't really comment too much on it. But I'd love to do that. Mate, we're starting to build up our own little real tennis tour here, aren't we? We're going to go and do Oratory and Hardwick.
Mate, we actually are. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that the other day actually, because the second like restrictions are removed, I'll fucking come. We'll do it. We'll drive down. It'll be fun.
Go and hit some balls.
I'll sit in the back seat of your car. Nat.
I'm driving then. Great, cheers.
Yeah, shot. I'll buy you a coffee.
Thanks.
Oh, that's fair. I'll pay the court fee. I've got to pay. I'm an amateur. Come on.
They might charge me as well.
No, they won't. I'll cover you. I'll put a few horse racing bets on. But yeah. What was I going to say? No, it's been an interesting one today. Obviously, we actually only got 70 hits on the last podcast. Bad. But
it was a poor one actually, wasn't it?
I know. Perhaps we're just producing too much content. But then again, people have got busy lives, you know. They've been outside. They're not as much inside. So I feel like the views will pick up again.
Let's hope so. I can't remember what we talked about last night. Wasn't it quite a good one?
Last night?
Last time, sorry.
You were sleep talking, clearly. We were talking about why there hasn't been a British World Champion. I mean,
Yeah, that was a good one.
That literally feels like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I need to apologise, make a public apology to Claire Fay on that one, because I did get a text saying, "Hello, British World Champion right here."
Fucking hell, yeah.
Obviously, we didn't stress that we were talking about the men's World Championship. It's a bit of like
that is horrendous. That's absolutely.
Casual sexism from us there, assuming that people would know we're talking about the men. So
that is so. Oh, yeah, that is so bad. That's so bad. That's generally like.
In fact, I did actually respond to that. Obviously, apologising on our behalf, but there's only ever been one non-British ladies' world champion. We have dominated the ladies' game.
And that person is. I know that. Oh my god. Why am I so bad? I don't even know.
Well, you just said you did know.
No, but I do. Is that Clark or something? What's her name?
Judith.
That's it. Was it
Judith? I'm pretty sure it's Judith.
Yeah, maybe.
Judith. Aussie anyway, I know that.
Yeah,
I think it was the first one.
Yeah, that sounds about right. British women have dominated the ladies' game, but not the men's game.
Let's hope they continue to do so.
I couldn't agree more. But no. Right, well, what are you up to for the rest of today, mate?
I'm going to go and do a workout in a minute and try and sweat out this hangover.
Your workouts are so hard.
You only did half of it.
Mate, wish I didn't. I did well to. I actually, right, okay, so I really wanted to do all of it, because I was like, if I do all of it, I can have lunch and like we can have more chat, it'd be fun. And I just thought, I literally can't even do it. I'm so tired.
Yeah, you were just in a world of hurt very quick.
These things happen.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll be doing that, and then what will I be doing after that? Doing a bit of a food shop. I mean, it's a pretty miserable day today, really.
And it's quite rainy.
It's just going to be a bum around and kind of get it done.
I know. I'm hoping to get a cricket net in this afternoon, but we'll see. Maybe a few walks. But who knows? It's a rainy one. But please keep suggesting ideas for podcasts. Or we might have to go every 2 weeks. Oh no! Don't do that! Oh no! But no, we will see. Anyway, until next time. Sorry for the lengthy podcast. Until next time.